Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you the speed up version of the Art Joy of Sharing live stream show for today, which has already happened, and this is the fast version. We were doing a combination of the Pick a Stick challenge from Art Joy of Sharing Facebook group, art community, along with our hashtag AJ Snark Attack. And so that was the art journal pages we did today, inspired by those prompts. So I decided to start my page using the colors from the challenge, which were charcoal and wisteria for this month. If you guys are not familiar with the Pick a Stick challenge, it's something that we offer every month in the group over at Art Joy of Sharing on Facebook. And it is a randomly drawn one-word prompt challenge. There's 2 colors and then there's 8 prompts. The only rule is that you do 6 prompts, the first 6 prompts, and you do them in order. You can put something before, in the middle, after, whatever you want to do, just so long as you do those 6 prompts in order. If you want to, you can use one of the wild card prompts, the other 2 prompts. You can use them all together, or you can use one of those to replace one of the ones that you got stuck on, and that's what they're there for. So since the colors were charcoal and wisteria, I decided to do kind of an ombre effect of collage using different types of papers. The one on the bottom is excess paint on deli paper. The next one was some under paper, I think, with roll-off brayered extra paint on it. Then this one that I'm putting down now is part of a piece of packaging. And I have some tissue paper. I have some origami paper. This one's an origami paper. And I'm just going like darkest to lightest in kind of sort of 1 to 1.5 inch strips because I wanted to cover the background with the colors. Also, this particular page is very beat up. It's got all kinds of junk on it from the opposite page that I didn't seal before I closed the book. And it's even got some bubbles and things on it. So I just wanted to cover all that ickiness up with some pretty papers in the right colors. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using Liquitex matte gel medium to stick them down. And then I'm letting them hang over the edge, and I'm going to trim that edge, trim everything up afterwards. So I like how that looks. But you know how sometimes you think something is too much. You might need to put some paint on there or some gesso or something to push it back or to integrate it. And this time, since the first prompt for the Pick a Stick challenge was napkin, I thought that perhaps this napkin, once it got on there and was made translucent by the fluid medium, that it would do the job of integrating and calming that whole background, because it's going to become see-through, right? Because it's a napkin. Once it gets wet on there, it's going to become see-through. And so it's a pretty napkin with some leaves on it. And I just thought it would bring that background out by making everything more muted and more blended together. And I think it turned out great. I was a little bit worried that maybe it wouldn't get translucent enough when I put it on, and perhaps you wouldn't be able to see the colors through it, but that's not what happened at all. It turned out exactly the way I intended. So I was happy that I knew what I was doing. So that takes care of the prompt napkin. The next prompt was rabbit. And I thought that that was a good prompt for this month because we are doing snarky quotes. And I think rabbits are snarky, especially the ones in my backyard, because they come in there and they think that they can just eat the plants willy-nilly. And if I try to tell them they can't eat the plants, they just give me attitude. They just freeze in place and look over at me with like a side eye and say, everyone owns these plants. These are not your plants. Nature is owned by everyone, and we should be able to eat them if we want to. This is the attitude that my rabbits in the backyard, they're very snarky. So I decided to draw a rabbit on a piece of scrapbooking paper that had the right color, kind of this charcoal gray. I decided it was going to be a dark colored rabbit. Most rabbits are light colored. to add a little bit of a base for my rabbit to sit on, because you know I don't like things floating. Always want to ground things. That's just, you know, a thing that I have. I used a barcode from a label, and I just tore it and then stuck it down with the actual labelness of it, which is sticky on the back. And um, I can't remember where it came from. I think probably a package or something, but it worked out perfectly to just put that across and make it kind of looks like grass, you know, coming up and down. And it's also got that same type of a color family, and it's deepening the bottom where I had the ombre dark to light. So I was pretty happy with that. I've been saving that thing for a while. And when I saw it today, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use that. So uh, I tried using a white Posca pen to draw my illustration lines on the bunny, thinking that that would be enough. That would make it stand out enough from the background. But I ended up messing with a lot more before I was happy. The white lines didn't make the grade for me. So there's a lot more things happening. I bring in some black Posca and draw the lines with that along with the white lines. And then I end up darkening around the edge and making a shadow around the edge to try to push that image forward. It was so dark that it was not reading as a focal on there for me. So a lot more things happened that made it finally work out in the end. A lot more things. There I am putting the dark shadow around it with a Stabilo all pencil and a water brush, which did help a lot. But I end up messing with it a lot more. You'll see different things coming in and happening. But that was for the prompt rabbits. Yeah, still messing with it. Adding some more white. I started with white, then I went to black, then I went to black shadow, then I started with more white again, trying to get all the things on the bunny to show up. And then I ended up adding some lavender highlights with Neo Color 2. I also added some gray on there. Yeah, I keep fussing with it through the entire process. So you'll see me touching that section of the page so many times during this process. So then the next prompt was pounce, and I thought about a lot of different things you could do with pounce. Of course, these one-word prompts are 100% interpreted by what you want to do. And it could have been cute to maybe make a cat that's coming and pouncing on the bunny, or, you know, something like that. But I decided to just do it like a technique. So what do you do when you pounce? You pounce up and down with a sponge on a stencil. So I got out this new stencil that I have. It's really more of a mask. And I used some white gesso and pounced around to make some different plants that would be, a bunny wouldn't just stand out in the middle of everything. They would be concealed in some sort of plants and grasses and things. They like to hide, except for when they come eat my plants in the backyard. Then they're not hiding at all. They're just like, here we are. So that actually helped make the rabbit stand out more too, because it ended up having the white gesso and darker looking plants around it. The next prompt was boisterous. And I was trying to think of something I could put on that might be boisterous, and I decided to add a couple butterflies that are teasing the rabbit. They're flying around his nose and boisterously being butterflies around this bunny. We have so many bees going on. It could have been bees too. It could have been. But I had a couple stamped butterflies on some tissue paper, so I got those and put them on with a little bit of napkin decoupage from Deco Art, which is also what I put the napkin on with. That's the best type of medium to put on napkin, which is a very thin and difficult to work with material when you're trying to collage or decoupage. The next prompt was watercolor, so I grabbed a watercolor pan and I added some yellows and reds to my butterflies, And then I also added some green to my plants down below that I had stenciled. I added a little bit of green color there just for something different. You know, I'm using a water brush and just quickly watercoloring up a little bit. Coloring basically. Give that a good dry. Want to get everything dry on there. So then the next prompt, see, I'm still fussing with the Neocolor 2 on there and blending it and getting some more. Maybe I'll give him a little bit of pink around his ears and face. I just keep going. I come back to it again. Trust me, I'll come back to it again. The last prompt for the Pick a Stick challenge was splat. And I thought about some different types of die cut splat shapes that I have, or I could draw some splats, but I just decided to create splatter and splatting with my Posca pen, which is something I love to do on art journal pages and tags. I do it all the time. I just flick the pen and let the paint splatter out onto the page. I like the randomness of it. So I did that with my white pen. And then the rest of the time, I'm just still fussing with the outlines and the shadows and adding more color to things. The stamped butterflies weren't standing out very much because the stamping on the tissue paper was really light, like the ink pad probably needed to be re-inked. And so I just go over it with the black Posca pen, go over the lines. And then I also made some butterfly flying dots, butterfly trails, if you will. I've been doing that for years. Even when I was doing stamping way back in the day, I used to make butterfly trails behind the butterflies to show that they are flying. I added a lot of white sketchy lines around my plants just quickly. Added more white to the bunny again, and I don't know, I just kept messing with that bunny the whole time. So I hope you're enjoying this video and this series. Of course, this is Pick a Stick Challenge, which has been going on. This is our 6th year. So there's a lot of Pick a Stick art journal page videos you can watch on my channel, tons of them. And then, of course, it's also our month-long daily art journaling challenge, hashtag AJ Snark Attack 2020. You can search that hashtag anywhere in social media and come up with lots of videos and photos of people's pages that they've been doing with our snarky quotes. And so I am adding my snarky quote now, which says, "I know right from wrong. Wrong is the fun one." I think that the snarky bunnies in the backyard would say that. They know they're not supposed to eat my plants, but it's fun, right? So they do it. So I added those, the snarky quote to my page for AJ Snark Attack. AG stands for art journaling, by the way. And I noticed that the stickers were not sticking down, so I added some Yoo-Hoo glue stick to get them stuck because the things were unsticking themselves. And then just more fussing, more adding white to the bunny, adding, I don't know, whatever I did. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you know when a fresh new video is out on my channel, which this month is every day. And of course, you can share this on Facebook, pin it on Pinterest, share it on Twitter, share it on whatever you want. If you share it, people will find me easier because then YouTube knows that I'm making valuable content. So if you think it's valuable, help me out. So that is it for me for day 8, with including the Pick a Stick challenge. Bye-bye.